All right, let's get cooking. Welcome to the latest edition of Chin Check Sports Radio. I'm your host, JD. I want to thank you all for taking the time out to join us. And as always, we welcome any suggestions, feedback, comments, and criticism, which improves the quality of our program, which ultimately improves your listening experience. That sound that you heard of the glass breaking sums up the Dallas Cowboys season. That is called break glass in case of emergency, press the panic button, break glass and throw somebody out of the window, etc., etc., etc. The Dallas Cowboys, 2019 Week 13, a 31-24 loss on the road to the Chicago Bears. And that 31-24 loss is a little bit closer. That game was much more dominant than what's reflected by the score. Let's go with our stats. Quarterback Dak Prescott, 27 of 49, 334 yards, and 1 touchdown. Once again, you look at the statistics. So like Dak had a great game. 200 of those yards came in the fourth quarter where the team was behind. And again, we call those garbage stats or empty calorie yards. Running back Ezekiel Elliott, 19 carries, 81 yards, 2 touchdowns. He is our chin check player of the week. Wide receiver Michael Gallup, 6 catches, 109 yards. Wide receiver Amari Cooper, 6 catches and 83 yards. On the defensive side, safety Darian Thompson, 11 tackles, 8 total tackles, 1 sack, 2 tackles for a loss. Defensive end Michael Bennett, 1 sack. Defensive back Jordan Lewis, 1 interception. And Brett Maher missed another field goal. By the way, the same Brett Maher who the team brought in 3 kickers. For some reason, decided to sign none of those kickers. Just sent Brett Maher out there who misses another field goal. Just throwing it out there. Quarterback Mitchell Trubisky, off of a decent game on Thanksgiving Day, goes 23 of 31 yards. 23 of 31 pass attempts, 244 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. The Dallas Cowboys defense gave up 151 yards. Defense got 2 turnovers. Folks, trying to understand this game, to me, it's a harsh reality that us Cowboys fans have to face. It's a harsh reality that changes are going to have to be made at the end of the season, because clearly this is not a team that is peaking at the right time. Clearly this is not a team who is building momentum for a deep playoff run and to even make it to a divisional round, let alone as a championship game, and damn sure not enough for the Super Bowl. Definitely there is cause for concern. Even going into this game, it was a carbon copy of what happened on Thanksgiving. Dallas Cowboys get the ball first, lengthy drive, score the first touchdown, and nothing happened until the end of the game, where the game was clearly out of reach. Again, the defense that was a much heralded defense last season has become a serious liability for they have quarterbacks, and I even noticed this in the Jeff Driscoll game with the Detroit Lions. They had that guy looking like Tom Brady. And again, Mitch Trubisky, who a couple of weeks ago was benched in a game against the Los Angeles Rams, turning probably his, I don't want to say his best performance, but one of his decent performances of the season against the Dallas Cowboys defense, where I have money tied up all over the place and I'm not getting the same level of production. Now, again, if you look at the stats, you can say the Dallas Cowboys should have won that game, but there are some things that I think should be discussed, some serious things going forward, and I think, again, a cold, hard reality that Cowboys fans should be facing. Now, quarterback Dak Prescott. Again, I've been saying this for the last couple of weeks. When Dak goes to ask for that money, play him these games, these last 3 weeks where he has not played well. He, again, is off with his throws, his accuracy. It seems to be getting worse as the season progresses. And again, I know people are going to tell me he threw that late deep pass to Amari Cooper and he dropped it in the bucket. but he's not consistent with it. And it seems that the team, the coach, was so focused on drawing up more plays and expanding the offense. Dak's fundamentals are awful. His mechanics are awful. His throws are erratic. And at this stage of the game, with his type of experience, he needs to make these basic throws, and he's not even doing that. That's a serious problem, and I would not, and I repeat, would not cut any check for any amount of money for this type of level of production, because a good indicator of future behavior is past behavior. If Dak Prescott is performing at this level now, with his years of experience, he had been in the league 2016, 17, 18, 19. In his fourth season, he is still inaccurate. In his fourth season, his mechanics are poor. In his fourth season, and it seems to be a trend, especially this season, when you play against a good defense, he's not the same player. That's a serious problem. And I've even saying this, even when his receivers catch his balls are either too high or they're behind the receiver. That's a problem. And let me say this. Yeah, cut the music. Let me say this. If the Dallas Cowboys somehow miss out on the playoffs and they are in a free fall or continue their free fall, I'm going to say this now. The Cowboys need to draft a quarterback in next season's draft. I know it is not the most popular thing to say, but if you're talking about building a franchise quarterback, Dak Prescott is a serviceable quarterback. If he does not improve, he is a serviceable quarterback, but you're going to need a franchise quarterback. If you want to win Super Bowls, you don't win Super Bowls with serviceable quarterbacks. You win Super Bowls with franchise quarterbacks. So if that team somehow misses the playoffs or barely makes it to the limps into the wild card round and gets beat out of the wild card round, it is imperative the team invest a draft pick in a quarterback to start grooming, because you really have to question how far are you going to get with Dak Prescott as your quarterback. I know people are going to tell me he's a nice guy, and yes, he is a nice guy. He says all the things that you would want as a franchise quarterback to say. He says and does the right things. He conducts himself well, but we're talking about strictly on the field production. And the on the field production that I have seen in games that mean something, I have not seen that at level of production worthy to be called a franchise quarterback. So we're throwing it out there. It's probably not going to be a popular opinion, but if you don't like it, we're just going to sit there and not like it. I don't know what's going on. We're not feeding Ezekiel Elliott the ball. Again, only 19 carries. Clearly for 81 yards, that means you're having success running the football. And why he's only getting 19 carries a game, and that's really beyond me. Now, as for the defense. The defensive side, besides Leighton Vander Esch's poor tackling, if you go back and listen to one of the broadcasts that I did when I talked about the addition of Michael Bennett, I said he will cost you some bad offsides penalties, which is what happened in this game. I'm looking at a defensive line that's hardly getting any pass rush. I'm looking at an older Sean Lee out there. Yes, I think it was a little bit of fool's gold in that Giants game that he played, where since Vander Esch has been out, Sean Lee, snaps were taken away. He's kind of playing well rested, but I saw such poor and atrocious tackling in that game. I don't know what's going on, and it's been a trend all season, and I noticed this in the New Orleans Saints game. Poor tackling. So is this that new age, don't practice hard, no hard hits, no full pads in practice? Then it needs to go back to the old school of everybody hitting the tackling sled until your legs get tired. Wrap up and drive. So the tackling was poor. So that falls on your coaching. Now, speaking of your coaching, one commentator did kind of break it down. He goes, Kellen Moore, the new offensive coordinator of the Cowboys, who I believe is 29 or 30 years old, is getting worked by veteran defensive coordinators. And he's right. When you start to really break that trend, when you really started to look at the trend and break it down, there is some truth to that, because he went up against another experienced defensive coordinator in Chuck Pagano, and he looked totally outmatched. By the way, the next game is against Los Angeles Rams, who take a wild guess who's their defensive coordinator. You guessed it, former Cowboys coach Wade Phillips. And oh, by the way, they've lost 2 straight games to the Los Angeles Rams. One in Dallas and one in a playoff game where they got ran all over last season. And let me say this as well. This might not sound a popular thing to say, but Scott Linehan doesn't look so bad now, does he? Just throwing it out there. Everybody was so quick to get rid of Scott Linehan. He was an issue. He was the problem. They were so quick to promote Kellen Moore. And we're seeing now the chickens are coming home to roost. So clearly there's issues there. I think from the defensive side, somebody's going to have to go, whether it's Chris Richard or Rod Marinelli. I like Rod Marinelli. They say he's full of energy. He's full of this. He's full of excitement. He motivates the guys. I just don't see it. And if somebody needs to go between the two, be Chris Richard or Rod Marinelli, I'm going to go with Rod Marinelli. Rod, thank you for your service. It's just not working out, and stay with Chris Richard. And I'm looking at an offensive line, a lot of money tied up into the offensive line. Not like what I'm saying. Now I know Connor Williams is out, and Xavier Su'a-Filo is playing. He should be serviceable, but some of these holes on the offensive line, I shouldn't be seeing these holes. So definitely they're going to have to improve a lot, because this week they have Los Angeles Rams coming to town, and as I just mentioned, they've lost 2 straight games to the Rams, and that seems to be a bad matchup for them for some reason, especially the way that Sean McVay designs plays and gets his playmakers out in space against the Cowboys playmakers, and being that Link Van Der Esch is still not playing, he's going to exploit Sean Lee. I can see that. You have in the middle, you're going to have a hard time trying to contain Aaron Donald. Also, you have Clay Matthews as a solid pass rusher. On the outside, you're going to have Jalen Ramsey, who's going to be covering Amari Cooper, if I had to guess. So you ever think to yourself, if Amari Cooper had a hard time with Stephon Gilmore, he's going to have an equally hard time, if not a harder time, with Jalen Ramsey. So again, looking at it on paper, the Cowboys appear to be overmatched. So I'm definitely interested in seeing how this game is going to play out, because the Cowboys are at this point in a must-win mode. They should not look at it as, well, we can afford to beat the Eagles and we still have that. No, you need to start building momentum going to the playoffs now. And the momentum should have started against the Buffalo Bills. The momentum should have started with the Patriots, or should have started with the Bears. So at this stage, the Cowboys need this win. This is a must-win for the Cowboys as they finish out their schedule, because they cannot afford to lose another game, and hope that they beat the Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia that can possibly decide the NFC East title. So we'll see what's happening. Clearly, Jason Garrett is on the hot seat. I can't see how his middle name can't be his name can't be Sizzler at this point, because the team looks flat. He looks lost. I don't know why he says he doesn't like to make coaching changes during the season, but funny, he wasn't all that against it when he fired Wade Phillips when his starting quarterback Tony Romo got injured. So I just find that funny. He gave Jason Garrett a lot more rope than he ever gave Wade Phillips. And just throwing it out there, go back and review the broadcast that I did on the Jason Garrett era, and you tell me whether he deserved as much rope, leeway, and time. I would say 3 times the time that he got to coach than Wade Phillips did. I always felt that Wade Phillips got a raw deal in Dallas. So on to the Rams. They'll be playing the Rams at home this Sunday. I believe the game is at 4 o'clock, so we'll be tuning in. And until the next time, this is Chin Check Radio signing out.